I'm Awesome. This is Rod Brooks,
Hello.
pinball extraordinaire from the Pinball People. Current staff 47, all over the world. We're here today with a machine from 1992,
right at the end.
Right at the end, that being Fish Tales. Now, I must say that this is the game that probably got me into pinball machines. If there were two machines that I remember growing up that I played when I was 17 and a half, 18, in pubs, it was Fish Tales and it was Adam's Family. There were a lot of Fish Tales brought into the country, I think. At least it seemed so at the time.
Yeah.
And this was the one that I found just to be a real, I guess you'd call it a ball cracker. It was really hard. It was different to the others because it had smaller flippers and made for a much tougher game.
Yeah.
So, Rod, how many of these machines were made?
About 13,500.
13,640 to be, again, looking at IPDB. That's what it tells me. So there were quite a lot of these machines made.
There's a lot here in Australia.
How many would you think? Before they were imported from containers, how many do you think came in originally?
From people that I know that worked at the distributor here in Sydney, there were 700 Fish Tales into Sydney alone.
Wow. Compared to Circus Voltaire, for example.
Which probably was 20.
Yeah. Wow. Huge difference.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, well, tell us a little bit about this machine, Rod.
Okay, so this is a game that I recommend to people because it's a pretty reliable game, but the pulley belt on this here, on the fishing reel, breaks about every 5 years. Not a big expense, they're about $5. You'll need some basic mechanical knowledge to change it, but what will happen if that's not working is it will slip and you won't get the positions right, the ball will get stuck and it just will get ugly. Because this is a game that I describe as a 2-half play field, you can get a lot of wear around the fish and around here because it's a high traffic area.
Which is why one of the most common decals that they sell is that there, right?
Yeah.
The tackle box, yeah.
Now you mentioned before about the shorter flippers. So if you have the lightning bolt flippers, they're the shorter flippers. You can put the original flippers in that it was designed for. They're about 3 mils. It's an eighth of an inch, but we're in Australia, we've got to talk metric. It's about 3 mils. So 3 mils on each side is a substantial difference.
Was the game released with the Lightning or the standards?
This game came out with the lightning bolt flippers on, and from memory, I think the long flipper bats might have been in with the manual.
Okay.
It was a push by the European distributors to shorter game times, let's increase the gap.
Right.
And there was a real push there. Black Rose, Fish Tales, Doctor Who, those games, they really did it. And then afterwards it kind of
Faded away
from that.
Gotcha.
This crossover, they call it the crossover ramp. It's a lot of activity on this ramp, and this can crack. It can crack around the screw holes that mount it, or it can just crack around the back. I've seen some that have just cracked around the back. If you are going to buy one, don't be a cheapskate. Buy the one with the spring steel flap on it and the eyelets for the wire form to go in.
Because putting them on is really hard,
You'll
yes?
save yourself a lot of time and hassle. I think it's an extra $20 or so. It's worth the $20 to do it.
Gotcha.
Now, this came with a topper. But as with lots of toppers, some of them are removed. I'm not aware of how expensive the toppers are. I did have a look recently. I think the Fish was about $300. So the Fish does actually flap its tail when you do certain things. It's kind of good. Sometimes I've noticed that the light bulb in his eye is not working. Kind of a good effect if it is. So keep that in mind. The dome is the same as the dome on whitewater.
Yep.
But if you don't have the topper, you may not miss it, but it does actually, the tail does actually flap.
Interact, yeah.
So there's another thing on this game that's quite endemic, and it's up the back to the right here. The ball can get stuck there. I've tried many things to try and rectify it. You are on occasions going to get the ball stuck there. You just have to give it a bit of a shake. It's around the switch there, the loop switch. I've tried different things to make it better, but not always does it work. The other thing too is where the ball comes out of this fishing reel into the catapult and it comes around here. Sometimes I've seen where the ball just goes straight down the middle.
Yep.
You can.
And how do you adjust that?
Well, there's two things that you can do. The screw there is a slide adjustment, so you can move it about 5 or 6 mil, but you can also bend the end point. Just bend it. 1 mil here makes a difference of 2 centimetres down there.
Of course, yeah.
So apart from all those things, it hasn't got a lot of endemic problems. It's quite a popular game. I can't really think of anything else. There's a switch that's in this popper. They use it in a few games. It can break, but you know, a couple of dollars, and that's all sorted. The boat plastic here can crack with the ball jumping up and hitting it. I always taught something when I started. When you get a new machine or you pick up a machine, go along the slingshots and anywhere where the ball has got a high impact area, and just back the screw off half a turn, back the nut off half a turn.
Gotcha.
Just so it's got a bit of play and you don't get cracked plastics.
Right. Okay. Well, I haven't done much to this machine. Well, I've done a few things to it. From stock standard, obviously put LEDs into it. I put some LEDs under the star posts at the front, which just came back on in. I obviously put a colour display on it. I think the colour display was quite good in this particular game. And also a mod on the back here. This bass fish fishing wire is an aftermarket mod. But apart from that, this is a fairly stock standard game. Yeah.
You've put new artwork on.
I have done that new artwork on this game as well. Yeah.
It's very rare to find a Fish Tales with original artwork that's not faded. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. This cabinet was actually done by Luke Phillips.
Okay.
Thanks, Luke. Love your work. He spends a lot of time doing pins up and did this one up very nicely. So
the faded artwork on the cabinet may not matter if you're putting it somewhere and it's not going
side by side. Yeah, sure.
But anything with orange, yellow, or red is going to fade. Definitely going to fade. Indeed.
In fact, you're right. That to me is the one deterrence of this game. I didn't like the fact that it faded so much. Doctor Who's the same as well.
Yeah.
It just fades completely, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Rod. Let me ask the most important question then. Out of 10, what would you rate this game?
I think I would have to say 8.5.
8.5. Okay. I'm not far behind. I'd give this an 8 because I think it's quite a challenging game.
Yeah. Quite
a basic game, but challenging. And I do like games where you can get to the multi-ball rather easy. And this one, it is a hard shot to get it in the Casters Club, but it's quite rewarding to get it in there and to get your multi-ball with a fairly simple process is quite.
And it's got a great video mode.
It does have a video mode. You mean the one where you've got to shoot the boats and the jet skis? Yeah. You're right.
I remember when this came out, I put it in a pub and the barman saying to me, there are people playing that pinball that haven't played any of the other ones you've had here.
Right.
And it turns out they were fishermen.
Right. In fact, I must say, I love a generic theme game.
Yeah.
It just appeals to me. I'm not a fisherman. In fact, I'm really hopeless at fishing. But there's something about this game that just brings that the richness of being outdoors and fishing, and even the back glass. It's just a great graphic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fish Tales, Whitewater, two examples of games that I think are really just appeal to you.
Yeah.
Because they are a generic theme. They're easy to like.
Yeah. That is a striking likeness to the game designer. And that's a striking likeness to the artist.
Well, there you go. Cool. Jeez, these are the guys that designed the game.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Cool. All right. Well, Rod, we might get you to fire it up and have a bit of a crack at it, eh?
All right.
life.